Hello, my name is Laurent Cousineau, and I decided to start a GoFundMe page for myself. And there are two main reasons for it. Uh, Now, this is a difficult video for me to make. I've been thinking of making this video for quite a while now, but it was very difficult. You'll understand why soon. So basically, I was a victim of severe bullying in high school and for a few years after high school as well. And in high school, so I'm from Canada, Montreal. So we have high school, CEGEP, and then university. So in high school, from 2005 to 2010, I was severely bullied by students and even teachers. That's an important point. I was also bullied by teachers. And then in CEGEP, from 2010 to 2012, I was also bullied by people from my high school. And I even had some bullying at the end of my elementary school. So in total, I probably had about 8 years of bullying. And in high school, it was really severe. There was a huge amount of violence. So I was slapped, kicked, punched, pushed, tripped, all sorts of things. There's a lot of violence, and probably hundreds of insults. So the main reasons I was bullied, from what I remember, I was bullied for being very skinny. I was bullied for being bad in sports. Uh, I was bullied because I was different from other people. I was there was also a lot of hatred towards francophones in my high school. There were several teachers and several students who promoted hatred towards people with French names or with accents and so on. So people who are of a different ethnicity. Uh, Even though Montreal is a French city, in my high school was an English high school, and there were very few people who had French names in my high school. And there was definitely, in my opinion, oppression against people such as myself. There's also other types of discrimination as well. From I remember, there was discrimination against uh, homosexuals, discrimination against other minorities, and so on. Uh, and yeah, there was a lot of hatred for people who had French names and accents. People brought up the fact that I had a French name. My name is Laurent Cousineau, so people brought up the fact that I had a French name many, many times, and there was a lot of there's also a lot of violence. So I was called all sorts of names, and it's important to note that not only did I suffer a lot during the 8 years of bullying, like 8 years in total of bullying, I guess you can say from 2004 to 2012, but from 2012 to 2021, those 9 years, I suffered a lot from anxiety, depression, and suicidal thoughts. I also have a problem with OCD since I was about 10. My OCD became more severe because of the trauma. I personally believe that I have complex PTSD, complex post traumatic stress disorder. And basically, well, there's a lot of symptoms to it. Uh, so, in addition to anxiety, depression, suicidal thoughts, there's also like fear of other people, trouble connecting with other people, trouble trusting other people, and so on. There's a lot of symptoms. And like I said before, my OCD also got worse. So, from 2015 to 2019, I was not in school or work at all. And from 2019 to 2021, I was in school part time. So basically, I was invalid for several years. And in the field that I'm in the field of computer science. So because I was invalid for several years, I lost like a huge amount of money in the long run, and my future is very uncertain because of all the mental health issues that I faced. So the mental health issues that I faced while I was being bullied, so I had a lot of anxiety, depression, suicidal thoughts. But I also had mental health problems from 2012 to now, and things have been pretty tough. Now, to add another layer into it, my father had severe health problems, physical health problems, since I was a kid. So from 2004 to now, my dad suffered from chronic myeloid leukemia. My dad also has a heart condition. He also has diabetes and other stuff. So my dad had a lot of health problems, and my family had a lot of financial problems because of my dad's health problems. And so my dad was basically invalid for many years because of his health problems, and because of my mental health problems, I was invalid too for several years. So our family has a lot of financial difficulty. So this is why I made the GoFundMe. Now, another thing that I want to point out is that I'm working on a fictional book that's inspired by real events, and one of the big topics of the book is bullying. Another topic is OCD. So I'm currently working on a novel now, and if this GoFundMe raises a few $1,000s, I will use it to help with the book to get like an editor, illustrator, and so on. And also, if the fundraiser makes more money, then there'll be money used for my therapy and money to help my family with financial difficulty. Now, I want to point out some of the most extreme things that happened to me in high school, like in terms of bullying. So basically, I was bullied in all 5 years in high school, but in my fourth year of high school, there was this teacher, this English teacher. I wanted to name the high school or the students or teachers for legal reasons, but basically um, there was an English teacher that would discriminate against me because I had a French name, and he would allow other students to insult me. And once he threw a roll of toilet paper on my face. It's kind of weird, but uh, he treated me different than other people. That it was very clear. Now, one day there was a boy who insulted me, and during that day, I insulted the bully back. And then the teacher who didn't like me, he said, we're gonna organize a roast. This is the most extreme thing that happened to me in high school. So basically, this English teacher had this idea that I would have to sit on a stool in front of the whole class and get bullied by the meanest bully in my class for about 5 minutes. That actually happened. It happened this happened in April 2009. Yeah, April 2009. And so yeah, I was bullied in front of the whole class officially. So the bully was really intense, and the bully said all sorts of things. Said Laurent, he said I had no friends, bad in sports, have an accent in English and French, is it stupid, and also all sorts of stuff. And yeah, so I was actually roasted in front of my whole class. That was really extreme. That's the most extreme thing that happened to me. But there's a lot of stuff that happened in high school. There was my last year in high school, there was economics teacher that put his arm around my neck, and that same teacher hit another kid across the face and knocked off his glasses. And I remember the teacher said, the class was shocked by this when he hit the student, and he said, "What are you gonna do? Fire me? I'm already retired." So basically, a lot of the teachers there and the students felt like there was no consequences for bullying or for physical violence or discrimination. And in reality, there was no consequences for their actions. And even if someone suffers from mental health issues for like over a decade, there is no consequences for the bullies. I am planning on doing a lawsuit against the high school, but because of financial reasons, I wasn't able to do one. I'm hoping if my story reaches the media, then hopefully there might be a lawyer out there who will take my case pro bono. I would really appreciate it. So I'd really like it if people share this video to tell my story. My story is not over yet. So there was uh, in grade 11, secondary 5, there was this history teacher that would insult me in front of the whole class many times. And yeah, there was a lot of stuff. So one day he accused me of being a homosexual, kind of, and he would insult the way I spoke or my French name or all sorts of things. And he even did this. He would also make fun of me by using Photoshop. So he would take my picture somehow. I don't know how he got my picture. I guess it's in the school computers. He would take my picture and Photoshop me to make fun of me. And he also did this with another kid that he bullied in another class. So he did a Photoshop with me, a picture of me and a picture of the other kid. And yeah, so I was bullied a lot by him and by my peers in that class. And I was in class 5A. And in class 5B, there was another student that he would make fun as well. And in grade 11, there was also this math and physics teacher that would make fun of me in front of the whole class. And grade 9, there was this history and gym teacher, the same person. He would also treat me differently in front of the whole class. And I remember he would spread a lot of hatred towards francophones or people who are seen as francophones. He spent like the whole year making mean jokes about francophones, doing bad impressions of francophones, and treating people like me different from the rest of the class. And I do remember during that time period, that people would like punch me and hit me and say, "Oh, you're French," or "You're a French bastard," or and all sorts of things, and saying, "Why don't you go kill yourself?" And yeah, and I remember this history teacher and gym teacher in grade 9. There were these occasions where when it was like 0 degrees Celsius outside, when it was really cold outside, I think about 32 degrees Fahrenheit. Anyways, when it was really cold outside, he would make us uh, go outside in just t-shirts and shorts. And I was very skinny at that time, so I got really cold even more than the other people. And and like the teacher, the gym teacher, he would be wearing like a winter coat, sweatpants, sweater, and he would make us run around outside when it was really cold in just t-shirts and shorts. And I remember I was so cold that my arms were in pain and my hands were in pain and my hands had trouble moving. And I told the teacher I wasn't feeling well, and he just laughed it off and said, "Oh, Laurent, why don't you put your hands in your pants?" Which is kind of a weird thing to say. But anyways, so the teacher was basically laughing at us that we had to walk outside, run outside in the cold. Like he would, I mean, that was if that's not bullying, I don't know what that is. If that's not abusive power, I don't know what it is. A lot of teachers in my high school would bully people. I wasn't the only victim in this. There were many other victims as well. But yeah, there were teachers who would insult you directly in front of the whole class. To give another incident, in grade 7, my first year of high school, there was this there was this there was this gym teacher that would make allow people to make fun of me for being bad in sports and for being skinny. And I remember in grade 7, they made us wear gym shorts that did not have like a string to attach, and so my gym shorts would be like falling down because I was very skinny, and uh, and I remember telling the gym teacher this, and instead of doing the right thing, which was just to allow me to wear another pair of gym shorts that had a string in it, the gym teacher took a duct tape and like taped it around me in front of the whole class, which was public humiliation. Even 4 years later, there were students who would walk up to me and say, "Hey, Laurent, I heard he was so skinny he had to be taped," and they would make fun of me for this. So that was a pretty stupid thing for the teacher to do. Uh, yeah, there was a lot of stuff that happened in high school. A lot of bullying. And I also remember there were times where students would do something called a bully circle. So a bully circle is when a bunch of kids surround you, and they take turns pushing you or punching you. So that happened to me. So it's important to note that when I was in high school, I was very weak physically compared to other kids. I only became tall in my final year of high school, but most of the time I was like about average height, and I was very skinny. My reflexes were worse than the average person. My physical strength were worse than the average person. So a lot of people took advantage of that, and there was a lot of violence. Also, from grade 8 to grade 11 in high school, there was like this trend that people did where they would vandalize each other's school bags or they would kick people's school bags, and a lot of the bullying like would gradually get worse over time. So in the case of the school bag thing, people would start by vandalizing and kicking people's bags, and then it would kind of gradually get worse. Where instead of just people running up and kicking your school bag, they would run up and kick your head. Run up and kick your leg, or they would slap you in the face or hit you on the face and so on. So yeah, there was a lot of stuff, and usually the violence gradually got worse. The verbal abuse gradually got worse, and the discrimination gradually got worse. And there was a lot of teachers that, in my opinion, promoted this behavior, and they would either allow they would either allow students to bully people, or they would basically do the bullying themselves. So it's not like oh, it's just a few bad apples. Like it's not like only one or two teachers were bad. No, there were several teachers that were bad. And at one point, I counted all the different bullies I had throughout the years, and I counted over 20 students who were bullies. So I had over 20 students who bullied me over the years. And on top of that, there were at least a couple of teachers or several teachers that would bully me or allow me to be bullied. So it's pretty bad. It was pretty intense. Now I mentioned the roast before. This shirt that I made, I call it Bullygate, and I hope I can create an anti-bullying movement called Bullygate in order to raise awareness about this issue. I think it would be cool if you could share my video and use the hashtag Bullygate, and also could share your own stories of bullying or stories you heard of. I think there should be a lot more action taken to help stop bullying. There has to be a stronger awareness program. There has to be more mental health support to people who are victims of bullying. and there has to be more accountability. There has to be more punishment for people who bully, not just students, but especially teachers and the administration. There has to be more punishments for them, in my opinion. And there definitely has to be more mental health support and less mental health stigma. So the roast was probably the most intense thing that happened to me, but there was a lot of, I would say there's hundreds of events in bullying over the years. And I know a lot of people, they tend to blame the victim. They'll say, oh, it's your fault because you didn't defend yourself, you didn't tell the teacher, you didn't change school. A lot of people blame the victims. But it's important to note that it's not the fault of the victims. It's a fault, in my opinion, it's a fault of the school administration. It's also a fault of society as a whole for not taking action on bullying. As I said before, I suffered from bullying uh, like for several years. And actually, after I graduated high school, I thought that things would get better. But in CJAP from 2010 to 2012, I was bullied by several people from my high school. So I was already traumatized, and when they bullied me, I was like re-traumatized. And that so CJAP was very difficult for me. I remember I was physically ill for most of my time in CJAP. I was there 2.5 years. Never have been 2 years, but 1 year I was very sick, so I canceled the semester. But anyways, for the 2.5 years I was there, I was sick from what I remember almost the whole time because my stress levels were very high. And what happened is that after CJAP, my first semester of university, I had a very big depression that canceled all my classes. Then I did a part-time and full-time semester of university, uh, 2013, 2014. Then in fall 2014 and winter 2015, I canceled all my classes again, either because of really high anxiety or bad depression. And then I stopped going to school for years. And then more recently, I went back to school part-time. So basically, my future has been pretty screwed up. Uh, so having a father with leukemia who had health problems for many years, that had a big toll on the financial situation of my family. And the fact that I was sick for so long with mental health issues, that also had a very big impact on my family's financial situation. So I was hoping to make this GoFundMe uh, GoFundMe campaign in order to spread awareness about bullying and about my condition, and also to raise funds for my family, and also to help with my book to raise awareness about bullying and many other issues as well. I do plan on making more videos in the future to talk about my story in more detail, or maybe to make a quicker version of it, or basically to make a bunch of different videos to raise awareness. I'll really appreciate it if you can share my GoFundMe campaign. And if I make other videos, I would really appreciate it if you could share them as well. I have a Facebook page called Laurent Cousineau. I made a small Facebook page called Bullygate, to try and make a Bullygate campaign. And you can contact me. I have a website on climate change called Climate Change Guide. So I can be contacted through my website, climatechangeguide.com. And I can also be reached from my Facebook page, Laurent Cousineau. So thank you for watching this video, and I really hope you share it. And also, I would really appreciate if you can give me donations to help with my difficulties. Thank you very much.